You ever have a day start so normal you swear nothing could possibly go sideways? And then, in a heartbeat, your whole world tips over? That was me, that Saturday morning on the lake. Just a guy with a fishing rod and a bucket of bait, thinking about nothing but maybe catching a big one before the sun got too high. And then, out of nowhere, sirens, loud, angry, cutting through the air like someone's about to ruin your weekend. I was halfway down to the dock when the sheriff's cruisers hit the gravel, spitting dust, and there she was, Karen, neighborhood's self-appointed warden, standing there in a hat big enough to shade a small country, arms folded, lips pinched like she'd just bit into something sour. You know the type. She points at me, starts hollering about how I'm blocking the road, like I'd suddenly turned into a traffic cone. And the officers, they give her 10 seconds, tops, before they look right past me and spot her shiny Lexus sideways in the fire lane, right under a giant NO parking sign, so yellow it hurts your eyes. That's when I knew. Yeah, this day wasn't going to be about fishing. See, Karen came to this little slice of lakeside heaven a couple years back, moved in from the city with a mission to civilize the wild. Before she showed up, the HOA was just a handful of us, sharing beer and fishing tips, swapping recipes, looking out for each other. Rules were simple. Don't block the road, wave when you pass, and keep the noise down after dark, nothing written in stone. But when Karen arrived, suddenly everything had to be enforced, cataloged, reported. She joined the HOA, then took it over in 2 months flat. New signs went up, emails flew, and I started learning more about mailbox distances and lawn ornament codes than I ever wanted to know. You think I'm exaggerating? Buddy, she once measured my grass with a ruler, but that morning, she'd crossed a line. The deputies walked up to her Lexus, ticket book out, and she stopped mid-rant when that little slip of paper went under her wiper. Her face turned a shade of red you only see in warning labels, started talking a mile a minute, but the deputy didn't care. He just pointed at the sign, cool as ice. She spun toward me with a look that could curdle milk, and I knew this wasn't over. Not by a long shot did you'd think it all started with the cops in the fire lane, but the fuse was lit 2 weeks before when my son and his family came up for the weekend. We packed my old truck and filled the driveway with cars, his, mine, Molly's sister. When we ran out of space, I said, just park on the grass, it's not blocking anything. 15 minutes later, Karen's at my porch, tapping her nails, reciting rule numbers like she's in court. I stay calm, tell her we'll move it. She doesn't thank me. She just narrows her eyes, promises chaos if I let it happen again, and marches off like she's just rescued the whole community. The thing about folks like Karen, they don't stop. The next day, she's snapping photos of my family barbecuing, won't even wave. I tell James, don't sweat it. She loves rules more than people, but I didn't know she was already plotting her next move. When she parked in the fire lane that morning and called the cops on me, it was just another game of chicken, one she finally lost, for once, in front of the whole neighborhood. But she didn't let it go. That afternoon, Karen comes back, not alone this time, but with 2 clipboard carriers, all serious, ready to catalog my crimes. She says my dock's the wrong color. My mailbox is 2 inches too close to the road. I let guests stay overnight. I try to keep it light, remind her the county put in my mailbox, but it's wasted breath. They circle the house, scribbling notes, and leave me a stack of warnings. I sit at my kitchen table, staring at her list, wondering how many ways one person can make you feel like an outlaw in your own home. Now, here's the twist no one saw coming. Pete, my neighbor 2 cabins down, the kind of guy who'd give you the shirt off his back and then fix your roof while you're wearing it. He shows up with sweet corn and a joke about dangerous geraniums, sits with me on the dock, feet swinging over the water, just talking fishing and life. For a minute, the world's right again. He says, don't let her get you down. Folks see who helps, who picks up trash, who keeps the peace. You're not the problem, Jack. And it's like I can breathe for the first time in weeks. Turns out, kindness is contagious. Of course, Karen's not finished. She slaps a warning on my mailbox, then shows up the next morning with a paper in hand, and a look that says she's about to start a war. "You have 72 hours to comply," she says, pointing at my flower boxes like they're hand grenades. They block my view. I laugh, but it's bitter. "They're geraniums, Karen." She just says, "Rules are rules." That's when I snap, ask her what she's really after. She doesn't answer, just leaves me with a threat and a countdown ticking in my head to be why that afternoon. I've moved the flowers, measured the mailbox, even scraped paint off my dock to match her approved gray. I'm tired, but I'm not giving in. And just when I think it's over, Pete calls. His wife June can't breathe. I rush down, paramedics flying up the road, and what do they hit? Karen's cones, her Lexus, her sandwich board, all blocking the fire lane again. Chief Roberts himself climbs out of the engine, the kind of man who could move a mountain just by looking at it. He asks, "Who put this car here?" Karen freezes. Pete's nephew clears a path, and the firefighters run the last stretch on foot. June makes it. Barely. That night, the whole neighborhood knows. Karen's rules nearly killed someone. At the emergency HOA meeting, she tries to spin it, blame the ongoing violations. But Pete stands up, voice shaking. He says, "We can have rules, but not if they keep an ambulance from saving my wife." And people listen. For the first time, Karen can't hide behind the rulebook. Even the judge, when she drags me to court over noncompliance, throws out her case, tells her HOA power's not a weapon for personal vendettas, but she won't let go. She calls code enforcement, tries to tow my truck, installs cones, even flies a drone over my yard to hunt for evidence. She blocks my driveway with a gravel berm until Deputy Harris tells her, "That's illegal." Every time, the neighbors see more, back me up, and Karen's circle gets smaller. Here's the part that's hard to explain unless you've lived it. The rules don't matter as much as the way they're used. Karen was never trying to keep the lake safe. She just wanted control. She could have built something real here, but she chose to rule by fear and fines. In the end, she lost, not just in court or with the sheriff, but in the eyes of everyone who saw her try to bully an old man out of his home. And yet, even after all that, she leaves one last note on my door. "You might have won today, but this isn't finished." I stand on my porch, holding that note, looking at the lake I love, feeling the weight of every battle, every neighbor who stood by me, every sunrise I refused to surrender. You know what I mean? The fight's never really over, not with people like her. But now, everyone knows what she's about, and that's something she can't fix with a clipboard or a fine.so. If you're watching this, wondering how far a story like this can travel, let me ask you, where are you watching from? Have you ever had to stand your ground? Not because you wanted to fight, but because giving in meant losing yourself? Drop a comment, share your story. Because out here on the lake, the only thing stronger than the rules is a neighbor who remembers why we came here in the first place and why we're not going anywhere.